All right, are we
Yeah,
live
that's
on
good.
Facebook? Oh, almost. We're still spinning. Oh, and we're live. All right, hello. I don't know if anyone's here just yet. We're getting ready. Getting ready to start. Oh, yeah, I'm getting notifications that we're live, so that's a good sign. All right. We've got someone live there, and okay, well, we got someone live there. All right, guys. Well, welcome. Hello, and happy Friday. I hope you guys had an amazing week. Oh, hi, Mom and Dad. Yes, thank you. You guys are on it on that comment. That's great. Thanks. So I hope you guys had an amazing week. I know we did. We actually celebrated our 6-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, yay.
So that was exciting. It was fun. I mean, it was different this year. We didn't go out really or anything, but we cooked some really good food and we went on a run and a nice walk to a new place we haven't been before, and it was just a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys did something fun this week. If so, feel free to leave us a comment there. I'd love to see what you guys are all up to. It is hot here today. We're in shorts. I don't know if you could tell. So it definitely is starting to feel like summer, which is a lot of fun.
As I'm in a hoodie.
Oh, I'm in long sleeves too.
Shorts and a hoodie.
Yeah, we're in shorts and long sleeves.
Yeah. It gets cold in our apartment.
Yeah, definitely not complaining about
the air
that.
Conditioning. So. Anyways.
Yeah, it's good though.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully you guys are all doing well and welcome back. We're going to be in chapter 11 today of Marriage After God. Before we get started, I'll do like a kind of quick recap in case people missed last week or they weren't able to join us. We talked about our experiences that we've had as individuals and couples and how God can use them to build our kingdom. And we talked about our testimonies, and hopefully you guys were able to talk with your spouses this week about your testimonies. We talked about our gifts and talents and resources that we have that we can share with others. So hopefully that led to some good conversations this week, with you and your spouse. And, hopefully you guys were talking about it this week. And, it's just the things, your gifts, your talents, and whatever resources you have. We just really focused on, okay, what can God do with that? And how can it help people? How can it reach people?
Yeah.
So that's what, if you missed last week, you're all caught up now. That's mainly what we talked about. Also, I wanted to say that I did leave a link. I did it late in the week because I forgot about it. But if you click on our previous video in the comment box, I actually left a link to the Marriage After God website. And on there, you can sign up to be on their email list, and it's totally free. And you can get prayer sent to your inbox. I think it's every day or at least 5 days a week. And it has praying for your spouse, so praying for your husband or praying for your wife. So I did leave a link to that. I can link it below when we're done on this one too. So if you want to check it out, feel free to do that. All right, well, I think I gave people time to chime in.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you're here, please say hello. We would love to see who's listening and watching and joining us today. But before we jump in, I think Brian's going to lead us in prayer.
Yeah. I need some hand sanitizer first.
Oh, gosh.
I got to sanitize my hands for the Lord.
I never know what to say. Just smile and nod.
That's what you do. It's all you got to do.
Okay.
It's all you got to do. Just smile and nod.
With our lighting, so hopefully you guys can see us. Okay. All right.
Your lighting is better, and my coffee is too light.
Yeah, he made some coffee. He says kind of.
I put too much milk in it.
But
it's too light. I like it darker.
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Hopefully you still get that caffeine going.
Anyways,
let's start.
Okay, so Lord, thank you so much for the time that we have, the time getting together.
Mm-hmm.
Through your words through us so they may be heard. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, chapter 11 we are in. It's kind of hard to believe we're already in 11 weeks. We are almost totally out of quarantine.
Week 10.
Oh, week 10.
But yeah, it's one week we did 2 chapters.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We are almost out of quarantine. I think in Ohio here, June 10th. Is when everything else opens, I think. Well, just about everything else.
I don't know.
Bowling alleys and movie theaters and zoos and all that stuff. is all opening June 10th. So.
Oh, Ryan's here.
Yeah.
Hi, Ryan.
I should add more coffee, but see, the thing is I have one of those refillable things. So I fill it all the way up, and then I hit the 8-ounce button, and then it goes, and that's what I get.
But you ground up the coffee beans this
time.
Yeah, so maybe it was just
my coffee beans are fresh ground. I buy the whole bean ones because I'm awesome.
Okay.
Anyways, so chapter 11 is about taking inventory. So if any of you know about inventory, what you do when you do inventory is you go around the shelves and you see what you have. You see what you're supposed to have, or you see what, like in a business perspective, let's say you're selling coffee beans, okay? And each bean, you should have 250 beans, okay? And they're all laid out singly on the shelves. And then you got to see what you have left, meaning what you have sold. And then you figure out all your profits and stuff like that, basically seeing what you have. That's what this chapter is about, is taking inventory, seeing what you have. So you have tools. You have the tools of God that were given to you, and we talked about this in the last chapter. You have 4 types of tools, and I'll get to them in a minute. And those tools are used for the glory of God. So stop thinking that you're not good enough to use the tools. I think of that all the time when I fix my car or something like that. I pull out a wrench and I'm like, oh, I should just be paying somebody to do this. This is so stupid. Yeah. And I'm cranking away, and then I get oil all over myself. Anyways. But that's really what it is, though. Stop thinking that you're not good enough to use the tools, because you can use the tools. You are good enough. And I know a lot of times it's nerve-wracking just to get that first one out of the way. That first time you use the tool, you get it done. You use it the first time, boom, it's done, and then you feel so much better. Okay. So the book says we are finite humans, but what empowers us is our belief in the infinite provision of God and His faithfulness. His faithfulness is what we look forward to. It's what empowers us. It's what gives us the strength to do anything in this world. You are good enough to use these 4 tools, and you are qualified. Whether you think you are qualified or not, you are qualified. Such as both of us are teachers. Mm-hmm. We're highly qualified because we have the degree, and then we pass the exam, the teacher's exam, and we have our license. So we're considered highly qualified teachers. You are highly qualified just for having the tools, if that makes sense. So your experiences, the things you've gone through, have given you a tool or 2 tools or 3 tools to use. And just because you have them means that you are qualified. Okay, so you are good enough. You are qualified to use these tools. The book says He is commissioning you to build your marriage on His word. He is commissioning you to build up His body. He is commissioning you to build up your life in such a way that it is a lighthouse set on a hill, a beacon of hope to guide the lost back to Him.
I love that.
There you go.
That was really a loud clap.
That was really loud.
Did you guys hear that?
I'm so sorry. Oh boy.
It's okay.
So you are to use those tools to build up, to build on His word, build up His body, build up your life, and build a beacon that is going around and has that gleaming light. So when somebody's lost in the darkness or lost in the fog, that's how it used to be. Lost in the fog, you could see that lighthouse going, and then you know where the shore is and you know where to go. So that's what we need to do. Okay. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's great.
Okay. Okay, so if you feel insecure or fearful, fear not. You are actually not alone in feeling insecure or fearful when it comes to doing the good work that God has commissioned. How many of you have sat somewhere and somebody mentions God or somebody mentions something and you open your mouth to talk about God, but then all of a sudden you freeze because you're like, what's this person going to think? Is this person going to write me off? What if he doesn't want to be my friend anymore? And then all these thoughts go in your head and then you don't say anything.
Yeah.
It's and I've been in that situation many times. There's been also times where I was really upfront about it. But there were also times that, I was afraid of not being friends with that person anymore, or losing that friendship or losing that trust or something. Let me tell you what, you're not going to lose any trust, especially if you're not, pounding it in. Just say, hey, whoosh, you pull out that tool, you do one little, put it away. All you're doing is you're planting that seed. So there is a story in 1 Kings chapter 17, and the beautiful, wonderful, amazing Alicia Griffin is going to read that story for you.
Oh, goodness.
She is.
Isn't he funny?
Okay. She doesn't think so, but she is.
All right, 1 Kings 17. All right, my Bible says Elijah's ministry. Elijah fed by ravens. Now Elijah, who was from, Tishbe?
I have no idea.
I don't know, I'm
Just
sorry.
Just make it up.
Okay, some of the words in the Bible I struggle with, I'm sorry. Tishbe in Gilead told King Ahab, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain during the next few years until I give the word. Yeah, I'm reading the right thing, right? Yeah, It is. Okay. Then the Lord said to Elijah, go to the east and hide by Kerith Brook, near where it enters the Jordan River. Drink from the brook and eat what the ravens bring you, for I have commanded them to bring you food. So Elijah did as the Lord told him and camped beside Kerith Brook, east of the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat each morning and evening, and he drank from the brook. But after a while the brook dried up, for there was no rainfall anywhere in the land. Okay, and then the widow of Zarephath. Then the Lord said to Elijah, go and live in the village of
Zarephath or something.
Zarephath, near the city of Sidon. I have instructed a widow there to feed you. So he went to Zarephath. As he arrived at the gates of the village, he saw a widow gathering sticks, and he asked her, would you please bring me a little water in a cup? As she was going to get it, he called to her, bring me a bite of bread, too. But she said, I swear by the Lord your God that I don't have a single piece of bread in the house, and I have only a handful of flour left in the jar and a little cooking oil in the bottom of the jug. I was just gathering a few sticks to cook the last meal, and then my son and I will die. Oh. But Elijah said to her, don't be afraid. Go ahead and do just what you said, but make a little bread for me first. Then use what's left to prepare a meal for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. There will always be flour and olive oil left in your containers until the time when the Lord sends rain and the crops grow again. So she did as Elijah said, and she and Elijah and her family continued to eat for many days. There was always enough flour and olive oil left in the containers, just as the Lord had promised through Elijah. Sometime later, the woman's son became sick. He grew worse and worse, and finally he died. Then she said to Elijah, O man of God, what have you done to me? Have you come here to point out my sins and kill my son? But Elijah replied, give me your son. And he took the child's body from her arms, carried him up the stairs to the room where he was staying, and laid the body on his bed. Then Elijah cried out to the Lord, O Lord my God, why have you brought tragedy to this widow who has opened her home to me, causing her son to die? And he stretched himself out over the child 3 times and cried out to the Lord, O Lord my God, please let this child's life return to him. The Lord heard Elijah's prayer, and the life of the child returned, and he revived. Then Elijah brought him down from the upper room and gave him to his mother. Look, he said, your son is alive. Then the woman told Elijah, now I know for sure that you are a man of God, and that the Lord truly speaks through you.
So to sum that up, there was the guy Elijah. Elijah went to that city And then there was a widow, and the widow said, I don't, he said, bring me a bite to eat, a piece of bread. And she said, I don't have enough for you, basically. And then she believed, she had faith, and she believed, okay, well, I'm just going to do this because, the Lord. And all of a sudden they had enough food that lasted them for weeks. And she thought that her and her son were going to die. That's what it is. So in this book, it says we can often be so consumed by our circumstances that we miss how God is working in us and around us, what he's actually providing for us, and how we can be eager to participate in what he's doing. That's part of your experiences. A lot of you, had a dark point in your life, and that's what you're solely focused on, is that circumstance, that time, that financial hardship, that breakup, or whatever it is. You're not actually seeing what God is working on or building around you or building inside of you. And I've been there too, where you're so consumed. And I think I mentioned this before, that I get really consumed with finances sometimes. And that, that's all I think about all the time, because I want to pay this off, or I want to make sure I have enough money to take her out on the weekend or whatever it is. But I'm not seeing what God's actually working around that, around the finance part of it. So God always sees the bigger picture, and his provision is always sufficient. It's always good enough, and it's always there. It's always just what you need. Sometimes it comes at the very last second, and I don't know why he does this. I think he does it as a joke, personally. It's like at the very last second, it's like you need him right now, and then it finally happens right at that last second, and you're like, seriously? Why can't you do this yesterday? Like, all right.
He's got a plan.
Yeah, and then you're like, no. All right, so anyways. So it's always sufficient. It's always good enough. He sees the bigger picture. When we encourage you to trust God, we are asking you to firmly believe in the reliability, truth, ability, and strength of him. Trust God and be prepared to say yes when he invites you to do his work. It's hard to do, to say yes when he says, okay, Brian, go do this. And you're like, no. And then you run away and you get swallowed by a whale and then get spit out where you're supposed to be. I mean, it's hard. It is really hard to say yes to him. But when you do say yes to him, when you do listen, when you do obey, as we have been told and taught by him, like miracles happen, miraculous things happen. You feel it like in your chest, like that's God. That's what God did. It's cool. So what do you, sorry, go on.
That's okay. I just want to jump in. So I like what we were saying. You were saying how God always sees the bigger picture. And I just think that's so neat, because I think we often forget that, God knows what's going to happen for the rest of our life. We see what's here and what's now because we can't see into the future, but I think it should be reassuring that God has it all planned. We don't have to figure it out. How often do we say, like, I've got to figure this out. I've got to do this. And I know we've probably talked about this, or I've probably mentioned it in the Bible study, but it's not about what we want and what we have to do. Our number one thing is we've got to trust God, and we've got to trust that he's got everything else figured out exactly how he wants it to be. So, sometimes we pray for something and we're like, okay, well, it's not exactly what I prayed for. And then it's like, well, that's okay, because maybe we didn't know what God had planned for us. We probably didn't a lot of times. And, sometimes we have this idea of what our future could look like, or we dream about these different things. And then I think sometimes we forget that, God has even bigger dream. He's dreamed up our life, or he's got it all planned out that goes beyond what we can imagine. We never know how he's going to use what we're going through, good or bad, for his good. We never know. I mean, an encounter you have with somebody, or someone at your work, or even, someone in your family, like, you never know the impact you're going to have. But I think that's why it's so important to always trust in God and know that He has the plan. Now, one thing I forgot to highlight, it actually says the definition of trust. It says, trust is defined as a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And then Brian already read this, but it said, we encourage you to trust God. We are asking you to firmly believe in the reliability. So God's reliable. Truth, He's a truth. Ability, He has the ability to work in your life, and strength of Him. That is so powerful, And Brian and I were talking about this earlier, and it's like, sometimes we just wish we knew what was next. We wish sometimes we knew what that next step is for our life. But then if we always knew, well, first of all, I don't think it would be as exciting. We wouldn't have those moments of like eager anticipation of what's going to happen next. We would just know. And I think if we didn't experience that, we wouldn't learn patience, and we just wouldn't be able to demonstrate our faith. Because if we always knew what was coming next, I mean, we'd be like, well, you almost don't even need faith. So I guess that was my little thing about that. I just love how it says, you've got to trust God, period, the end. I mean, I feel like that's what sums up this whole thing we've been doing. You have to trust God,
Mm-hmm.
So that's my little 2 cents. Oh, the Bryans! Hi, Doug, Cassie, and Ellie. That's exciting.
Yeah.
See, I'm checking those comment boxes.
I know.
I got it on 2 devices here, so I'm ready. All right, so now we can move on. What do you have to work with?
All right, so what do you have to work with? I picture, what do you have to work with, like, in the kitchen? It's the weekend. It's Saturday. You don't want to buy anything. You're short on money, but you ate up all your food, and you're like, okay, what do I have to work with? You open the fridge, and you're like, I got some cheese. I got some bread. I got some stuff in there. So that's what that is. What do you have to work with? Well, think of the tools that you have. So first you have the resources. You have, what do you have? I got a couch. I got 2 couches. I got music stands that these computers are on. I got clothes. I got this shirt. I got coffee. Resources. Okay, what resources do you have? What experiences do you have, good or bad? Good experiences, hey, I got a job today. Yes. Or bad experiences, boo. The Indians lost the World Series again. Bad experience. I know. They did get really far a few years ago. But anyways. So experiences, testimony. How did you come to know the Lord? That's your testimony. And your talents. What are you good at? Are you good at fixing cars? Are you good at making models? Are you good at exercising? What are your talents? What do you have to work with? So take inventory. There's that word, inventory. Mm-hmm. Take inventory of what God has uniquely equipped you with, both individually and as a couple. And remember, as together, you are one mind, one body, one spirit, one everything, moving in the same direction. You're 2 individual people with 2 sometimes different and far-fetched ideas, but you're together, you're working together, moving in the same direction. Okay?
Yeah.
So you have 2 individual talents, but both those talents together complement each other. So it'll help you move forward. So as a couple, so they equipped you well as a couple, basically what I was saying. Okay. So you got to identify what's in your tool belt, you and your spouse together. Once you and your spouse have identified what's in your tool belt, you can prayerfully and humbly submit it to the Lord, knowing confidently that you are already equipped to do the work that He has already either invited you to do or will invite you to participate in.
Aww. Hi, Devin. I want to say hi when people comment. Okay, that's it. Keep going. Hi,
Devin. Okay. So He has already equipped you to do these things. And so He might hurry up and give you all this experience and give you all these tools now And then 4 years down the road, you'll actually have to call upon that experience or those tools. So you really never know.
Yeah.
You really don't. I might think, oh my gosh, I put too much milk in this coffee. And then later on, I'll talk to some guy at McDonald's talking about coffee and how much milk he puts in it. I don't know. I mean, seriously, it's a funny analogy, but that's what it is. That's what it is. So once you know what's in your belt, submit it to God and pray about it. Figure out what He wants to do. The only way to do that is pray about it and ask God to help you understand why you're going through these times. Right?
Yeah. Can I add to that?
Sure.
So yeah, and it says here, after the two of you talk about it and write it down, pray that God will use you. And so I think it's one thing to identify what you have, what you can do, but I think it's so important to say, okay, God, right now what can we do with this? It's one thing to know what you have, to know your resources and how you could be effective, but it's another thing to do it. And I think the actually doing it part is kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk about. It's easy to get excited about. Say, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to help this person and this is what's going to happen. And then, you have to actually do it. So I think I like how they said that, pray that He will prepare your hearts to say yes to the ministry He has for your marriage. So God can be showing you what He wants you to do, but we've got to make that commitment. We have to say yes and just trust. There's that trust again. Trust that God is going to fulfill whatever He wants to fulfill through our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's neat. All right, my 2 cents is done.
That's good.
Okay, I just like to add to each section. I think about it too while you're talking.
So you have the tools. You know what the tools are. You're going. You're chugging along, and then you have your mouth open. Okay.
I can click on it here.
Okay, and you have your mouth open, and then you figure out, oh, I froze. Well, what's holding you back? Why are you freezing? Well, here's the thing, because I go through this too. What's holding you back is fear and insecurity. That's what this book says. And I thought about it, and I went, yeah, that's pretty true. Because every time that I've stopped myself from using a tool, it's because I've been afraid of something. I've been, I've been either afraid of it or I don't fully understand it. So I get insecure about what I'm doing and then I don't do it. Just like this Bible study. This Bible study was a long way coming because I think I was just so insecure and felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and here we are, doing it. So what did Doug share with you?
It's really neat. If you guys look at it, it was a pin on Pinterest. And basically,
remember, they can't see it.
I was trying to scroll. Okay, so if you want to click on it, it's really neat.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Just hold this
up?
You
guys can.
This is like I'm teaching.
On that in the comment section. You guys don't have it, so you have to look at that tablet.
So look, it has them carrying the cross, and then he's like, okay, God, I can't carry this. It's too heavy. It's too big. And then it goes through this. Have you seen this before, Brian? This is really cool.
I haven't seen it.
And then he's asking him to help, cut this down. And then it's really cool. They end up using it as a bridge. So maybe I could share the link. I could probably connect that link on the YouTube video. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is neat.
So use it as a bridge to cross over.
Oh, that's too short.
That's where faith comes in there, right? Is that what that is? That's awesome. I love that. That's cool. Thanks, Doug. Oh, thank you, Devin. You. That was sweet. Thanks, Devin. He likes to say.
I'm gonna call you that all the time now. I'm gonna do that all the time.
Okay.
Okay. So what's holding you back? Fears and insecurities. So fear and insecurities comes from what? Comes from anything. Comes from past relationships. Comes from maybe not having enough money. Maybe it comes from, I think my house isn't good enough. I mean, I know somebody who doesn't host Bible studies at her house in her circle because she has the smallest house out of all of the women that she's with. And she just doesn't want them to think negatively of her or think down on her because of money situations or whatever it is. And it's not right to think about that, but we do think about that. Yeah. So how do we get over it? Well, pray about it. That's what she says all the time. Did you pray about it?
I do.
No.
Actually, a T-shirt or something that says that. Yeah. Pray about it.
Pray about it. Just pray.
Or maybe put a sign on our living room, and then I won't have to say it. I'll just
with a Nike swoosh that says "Just do it."
No.
Pray, Nike, just do it.
I don't know. Maybe not Nike. I don't know. More of an Under Armour kind of gal.
Oh.
But that's okay.
We wrecked this house. I think that's what the Under Armour is. Wreck this house or something like that. Or save this house or protect this house.
Oh,
that's Under Armour.
So that'd be pretty cool.
House.
Pray about it. Protect this house.
Protect this house.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay. Not enough money. Whatever. So the book here says we may have wrestled with fear in the beginning, but once we started recognizing how God was working in our marriage and in the marriages around us, the more we understood just how much it was worth it to do it. They saw change in themselves. They saw change in other people around them. And they decided, you know what? It's worth it to do this. So we're going to keep doing it. Even though we're fearful, we're insecure.
You guys experience that? That's another topic. That's another topic. But no, have you guys experienced that where, you're afraid of something, but you feel like God's calling you to do it, so you do it. And then, you're really scared, but wow, you probably really grew during that. I just think that's so cool. He pushes us out of our comfort zone. I think we like to stay in our comfort zone, and God's like, just keep going. I've got something really big for you.
When he pushes you out of your comfort zone, you go way out above and beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then you basically fall over and have to roll a bunch of times because you can't walk and all this stuff. And
something like that. Yeah. God. It's neat, though.
It is neat. And when you come out of it, you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. It's scary, but that's really cool. That's how we grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So remember that God sees the bigger picture. He sees what you are doing or what he's doing with you to benefit to his glory later. I don't like the way I worded that.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
So like in music, instead of working on a small little run, this is what you would understand. Instead of working on a small little run, you would just kind of get through it like blah, because the bigger picture is we got to put. Oh, there we go.
I'm watching it.
The bigger picture is we got to create this big piece of music, and we have tomorrow to get it done. That's kind of the bigger picture, if that makes sense. The smaller picture is just little snapshots. He sees the big snapshots, the big picture. Okay. What I saw in a TV show, was it last night? They showed a picture. It was this really cool TV show, but they showed like this picture, and then everybody was freaking out over this picture because it was just a snapshot in time. But really, nobody knew the circumstance. Nobody saw the bigger picture because all you could see is this little tiny snapshot. There we go. That's a good
analogy. Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, and look, we got some comments here. Doug saying, yeah, he agrees. It's how we grow. And Devin, life starts outside your comfort zone. Yes. Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. I love that. That's totally true. Yeah, that's awesome.
So there's another story, Matthew 14. Do you mind reading that? Matthew 14.
Let me see.
Well, maybe. How long have we been doing?
We're at 4:35.
So I could just read it in here because this summarizes it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So Matthew 14, it recounts another experience of God's provision. Okay, so a lot of you know this already. If you don't, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's basically it's when Jesus had a few fish and a few pieces of bread, and he had to feed 5,000 people. Your experience or your look of it is, how are you going to feed 5,000 people with no money was it 2 fish and like 3
5
bread?
loaves of bread.
5 loaves of bread. How are you going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
But he did.
Yeah.
And then there were how many boxes left over?
I think there were 12 baskets of leftovers.
There were 12 baskets left over. It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, it's Jesus. I mean, Jesus does that kind of thing. You know, I mean, duh, right? So he is like, he takes something that you think is impossible and he makes it possible. Yeah. There were so many times in my life where I couldn't make a bill, or I was going to be $300 short, for the month, and I was freaking out, and all of a sudden it just shows up, like it literally just showed up. Or, I didn't, I got into an argument, or somebody said something in my family, and I was scared about what was going to happen, and then it just fixed itself, or something like that. That does happen. That it really does happen. Or you think somebody has some kind of crazy disease, and they see it, the doctors see it, and it's there, and then they go back to get treatment, and all of a sudden it's gone. Like it happens. So remember, it's Jesus who we're talking about here. It's the Lord. All kinds of miracles. He sees that bigger picture. He is capable, and through you are capable. Mm-hmm. We may have wrestled with fear. Oh, wait. No. The disciples only saw their current circumstances. A lot of people, not enough food to feed them, and not enough money to buy enough food to feed them. Mm-hmm. They could only see so far, but God sees differently. He sees the bigger picture. He always sees differently than what you see. I see myself.
In the camera,
I see myself.
Yeah.
And I see like this weird shirt and like this weird haircut and stuff, but God sees like this beautiful, miraculous person with the hand motions.
No, it's neat though.
But like to me, I look at my wife and I see how gorgeous she is.
Oh gosh, honey, okay.
And then
I appreciate that.
He sees her as being like 10 times more pretty, and I'm like, really? Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right.
Thank you.
So, yes. So the disciples, go back to the widow who fed Elijah. The disciples, the widow who fed Elijah, and us regard reality in the flesh, and we forget to consider God's perspective. But what we see as inadequate, God sees as enough. We do this all the time. We are fixed in reality. We see what can be done. We say, well, reality is this. Well, reality is God. God is reality. So if you think, this is going to happen, it might not. And so we need to really keep that in perspective. And
hi, Devin.
And what Devin says there is so true. It's so hard. Sometimes families can't pay their bills. Sometimes that stuff happens, and then the money just shows up. It's crazy, and I can't describe it until you go through it. If you ever go through it, I hope you don't.
And that's cool what she said. They made a priority to tithe first. So God was first, and then God provided the rest for their finances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so cool. It's like putting God first.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I had an experience like that too, where I had like no money, and I decided I was going to start tithing, and I started tithing, and all of a sudden I got like whatever like I needed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy.
But it's neat though. I know before we move on to this part, I really just love how it says, the disciples could only see so far. We can see now, we can see today. And then it says God sees differently. God sees the bigger picture. And that really hit home with me this week, that, God knows beyond what we can see. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but have you ever, been running late to something and got like bent out of shape, and it just felt like your whole day was ruined. You were going to be late, but then something became of that. You know, maybe you got to talk to somebody who really needed somebody to talk to. Or, I don't know, maybe you were running just a little bit late, but you didn't get into a car accident that could have happened. Like, we don't know. Sometimes we go through our days and the little things frustrate us. And it's like, well, what if God has a reason? What if, he always has a reason? What if the things we go through and deal with, it's just part of his plan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's neat. I don't know if you guys ever do that, just kind of like reflect. Maybe I reflect too much. We've had a lot of time to reflect. But maybe if you ever reflect on something that happened and you're like, oh, well, okay, maybe God did that for this reason. Maybe there was a reason why that happened.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
Mm-hmm. All the time. It's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, anyway. Okay, we can keep moving.
So keep this in mind. When God sends someone to you to take care of, to feed, to share scripture with, to share your story with, to generously provide for, even if you are tempted to think that what you have to share is not good enough, remember that what you have been given, God gave you. Remember that his opinion of what is enough matters and that his provision is sufficient. So basically, say yes to God. God says you're going to feed that person a steak dinner. And you're going to feed that person a steak dinner. Okay? That's just how it is. There's a story on here of a couple that they met. So I'll read this to you. It says, one couple in particular who have taken inventory of what is in their tool belt and have said yes to God is Isaac and Angie. Isaac and Angie. I used to work with a girl named Angie, and I know a good trumpet player named Isaac, who became our friend shortly after we moved to the Pacific Northwest. They had 8 children and 1 baby in heaven who they lost in a miscarriage. We have witnessed firsthand this couple's faithfulness in living out God's word. When they endured hardships like the loss of their baby and the collapse of their business, their faith and unity not only remained steadfast, but they strengthened it. Although they have honestly shared their pain, frustrations, and insecurities, countenances, and words always honored God. They persevered through these trials, reminding each other of the way they should respond. One of the example they are setting for their children and others. I like how it says they remind each other of the way they should respond. This is actually something we do a lot, is remind each other of how we should respond. And I think you keep me under wraps a lot.
Well, you help me though too. I don't always respond perfectly.
Yeah, but I never respond perfectly.
Yes, you do. We're a team effort. We're not perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes, and we just have to help build each other back up. Right?
Yeah. So Isaac and Angie faithfully use the tools that God has given them to raise godly, respectful children. Their example has impacted our parenting, and we've seen it encourage other parents in the local community as well. In addition to raising their children, they are hospital family, inviting us and many others into their home to be fed and loved on with conversation and games. In addition, with Angie's extensive experience in childbirth and postpartum, she has made herself available to other women who are in a season of pregnancy and postpartum, offering tips and encouragement for that season of life, something we have valued in our children. Isaac and Angie encourage other couples through their blogs, through social media. Okay, so basically they take into consideration their tool belt, what's in their tool belt, and they're using their experiences for a godly purpose, which is exactly what we're supposed to do. Everything that we do is for God. Our marriage is for God. Our lives are for God. Everything. So
I think it's neat how, I think it's really great to use our testimony to help bring people to God. But I think there's other ways too, just being kind to people and just lending a helping hand or just showing that you have compassion and concern for others. I think people are going to see God and through your life without you even necessarily mentioning him. People might ask you why you're different. Why are you so happy? Why are you at peace when everything is so bad right now? And and then it's like, oh, okay, well, let me tell you about my God that I follow, like, let me tell you about
Mhm.
Jesus. And, then it's like, yes. But even if, you don't have that direct conversation, I think just how you treat people, how you treat your spouse, how you parent your children, I think people will see Christ. And I mean, I think that in itself can be a huge witness. And so it talked about Angie, the wife, she had 8 children. So she maybe not necessarily always talked about God to people, but she also, maybe she talked about, okay, like, this is how you're feeling after, this is what I went through, and just using her experiences to minister to others. And, I think it's great, to talk about God and to talk about how he changed your life, but just don't forget that just how you treat people and the things that you do and the other ways that you help them, they're going to see God through that. And I think that's important to remember. And it's neat because how you treat others can open up those conversations that we want to have with people. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
People will wonder, like, why are you different? Why are you glowing? Why are you filled with joy? And then you could tell them, tell them about Jesus. I get excited, but yeah. Anyway, the end. I never know how to conclude my portion, so I just say the end. Your turn.
Okay, so we got some questions here. How do you know you could trust God during difficult times? So if you want to comment there, or right there, comment in the comment section below. Actually, no, it's over there, I think.
To the left.
I don't know.
Oh, no, for them it's probably to the... I don't know. It doesn't matter. Don't make me think that hard.
How do you know you can trust God during the difficult times? We got a chatty bunch over here.
I know, it's exciting. I love when people comment. It's so nice, interactive. So how do you know you can trust God during the difficult times? I'm thinking of one thing right away, by just your past experiences, just looking back and how you trusted God during a time in your life and he brought you through it and you came out good on top. And I think just that, thinking about experiences you had in the past or maybe in your family, and you can see the times where you and your family have trusted God and he's really worked. I don't know. Do you want to add to it? Does anybody else want to add?
I think that's good.
I mean, the Bible, right? The Bible says, trust in God.
Right.
So you just, have to trust that he's going to bring you through the good and the difficult. My 2 cents. I just got sleepy all of a sudden. I don't know why. Are you guys all awake? I just got sleepy. I think so. That's okay.
Sleepy day.
Do some jumping jacks or something.
All right, number 2. How much does God need to accomplish his purpose?
Ooh. I love that question. How much does God need to accomplish his purposes? How much does he need?
No.
Whatever we have.
Oh.
Right?
That's right.
Whatever's in our tool belt.
Yes.
That's it. That's enough. Whatever God has given you and your spouse, that's it. That is all you need. And God's going to work. He just is. Okay.
That's why she's so cool.
No, it's just God's going to work. Whatever you have, it's enough. You are enough. You are enough. God can use you wherever you are, whatever you have, and he can do amazing things in your life. Okay.
All right, here's number 3. Why is it important to take inventory of what is in your marriage tool belt? Why do you need to take the inventory for what's in your marriage tool belt? We should sit here awkwardly like this. Just stare into the camera.
Well, I don't know if anybody wanted to comment. I'm checking it just to make sure I'm not missing anything. We do try to give that wait time so people can type. Because I know we're just speaking, but you guys have to type it out. So
unless they do talk to text.
Oh, you can do talk to text. Oh, even on
the Windows computers have Cortana.
Oh, and you could just
speak into it. And Apple has Alexa, or not Alexa. It's Siri.
Even on my computer? Are you serious?
Probably. It might be deactivated.
Oh man, I'll have to check that out.
My Cortana is deactivated for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see. Okay, so why is it important to take inventory of what is in your marriage tool belt? Well, so you know what you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know the resources. You're ready to share with others, and you're ready to pray about it, and figure out what God can do. Maybe your family. I don't know. Maybe you guys really love to cook together, and you could invite somebody over for a meal, or drop food off. Or maybe, I don't know, babysitting somebody's kids, or maybe you're really handy and there's like a newlyweds, and maybe the husband doesn't know how to fix something, and you could just be that, be that person that helps him hang his TV up or something around the house, right?
Yeah.
Like
That'd
it's
be me,
just
not knowing how to do anything.
Well, I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Fine. Say, Dad, how do you do this?
Yeah.
But yeah, so just, I guess it's important to take inventory so you know what you have to work with and what God can work with. You think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything to that, but I think that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, should we close?
Yeah, I think we can. I'm checking to see if anybody says anything, but yeah.
Nobody said anything.
That's okay. That's all right. So we just talked about taking inventory. So maybe this week, you can sit down and with your spouse and figure out what resources you have, and what else? Resources, and maybe talk about your experiences and how you can use that experience to witness to someone else or to help them. And that'd be good. Okay. All right. Well, do I usually have you pray and then I end it? Or do I end it and then you pray?
I think you end it and then I pray.
Okay, so I'll do my little spiel. So yeah. Okay, so he's gonna pray for us in just a moment. I'm sorry we got so sleepy. I have no idea what happened. He's gonna pray for us, but thank you guys, for joining us, and please, 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 if you have prayer requests or if you have more insight, things you want to share with us, please do that. We love these conversations. We do. I especially love these conversations. I love talking about God. I love marriage. I love talking about marriage. I truly hope you guys are enjoying marriage. If you're married and you're watching this, I hope you guys are enjoying it, because it really is a gift. And, try to remind each other that every day, no matter what kind of day you're having, just try to focus on that marriage truly is a gift from God. And there's a reason that he put you two together, and just remember that. Hold on to that. Some days might feel like they're perfect, but other days might not be. And that's okay, because God's going to use that anyway. So if you guys have prayer requests, I've got my prayer journal ready here. I am ready to pray for you. So if you need anything, please, please reach out. All right, so Brian's going to pray, and then we'll say farewell.
We'll say farewell.
Until next time.
Okay, Lord, thank you for the day. Thank you for this Bible study and this time together. Mm-hmm. And thank you for your words of wisdom. Mm-hmm. And help us take inventory of what's in our tool belt, that we may use everything that we have to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. I hope you enjoy this beautiful Friday. It is absolutely beautiful really nice. Outside. It's 80s out here. Yeah, it feels like summer for sure. Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you back next week Friday, 4 p.m. And we'll dive into chapter 12. All right. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great evening. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.